Stephen A. Smith still defends Shannon Sharpe. Mistakes happen. Accidents happen. It's just that simple. Stephen A. Smith clears the air, defending Shannon Sharpe after an Instagram Live mishap. Stephen A. Smith addressed the recent incident involving Shannon Sharpe during an episode of The Stephen A. Smith Show. He came to Sharpe's defense, emphasizing that the situation was an accident and should be left at that. Shannon Sharpe was having sex. That's what he was doing, okay?
He was getting it in.
It's just that it wasn't for everybody to know. And evidently, he was on Instagram Live and didn't know. As a result, although no video was seen, thank the good Lord, we heard quite a bit. Initially, he thought his stuff was hacked, but then he came out and explained what really happened, and that was that. From that point forward, people started speculating whether he would get fired, suspended, etc. Again, he works on First Take, and I'm the executive producer for First Take. So if anything was going to happen to him regarding ESPN, I'd be one of the first to know. I was on the phone with the bosses yesterday, and to be honest with you, nothing's going to happen because nothing should happen. Let me be the first to say, Shannon Sharpe committed no crime. It wasn't a sex tape that he intended for everyone to hear. That's not how he operates. I've gotten to know him personally, and that's not who he is. So let me clear that up right away. If something had happened that put him in a world of trouble, I would have fought like hell to make sure nothing came of it. There was no video, and he was living his private life. It was a mistake. He's not only incredibly private, but also clueless when it comes to using social media. He has a team that handles that for him. That's not what Shannon Sharpe does. Shannon will tell you what he wants tweeted, what he wants posted on Instagram or Facebook, but he's definitely not doing it himself. He's not technologically savvy in that way. A lot of people aren't, and he's one of them, okay? I know his team. I know him personally. I see him all the time because when he shows up for First Take, they are with him. When he goes anywhere, they are with him. There's a group of people that are always around him. When he shows up at games, they're there too. He doesn't roll by himself. He's got a social media person, a photographer, all of that. He doesn't mind people filming him, tweeting for him, or being a conspicuous presence on social media. He likes that stuff. He's not like me in that regard. We're both very private, but I don't want all that around me. He loves it. But they're professionals handling his business, and they're not going to be there when he's, getting down. They're not going to be in the room for that. He's going to do that in private, okay? And I assure you, I wasn't there, obviously, but based on the Shannon Sharpe I know, I can promise you when he says he didn't know he was on IG Live, he didn't know. So make no mistake, he was telling the whole truth. But here's the bigger point I want to make. The nerve of people out there acting like he did something wrong by getting it in. What's the problem? I couldn't believe people were trying to act like, oh, he did what? So for me, personally, I'm looking at people like, why are y'all tripping? Why is everybody acting like he did something wrong? I'm not saying it was right to accidentally get caught on audio getting it in, but it's nobody's business. If it was an accident, it was an accident. He didn't do anything wrong. Mistakes happen. Accidents happen. It's just that simple. Let it go. Let it be. Smith acknowledged that people were quick to speculate whether Sharpe would face repercussions like suspension or firing. However, as the executive producer of First Take, Smith made it clear that nothing would happen to Sharpe at ESPN because there was no wrongdoing involved. He stressed that Sharpe did not commit any crime and that the incident was a private matter. Smith praised Sharpe for handling the situation with honesty and transparency instead of making excuses. He also criticized those who blew the incident out of proportion, arguing that there was nothing inappropriate about Sharpe's actions. In the end, Smith's message was clear. The incident was a mistake, and Sharpe has nothing to be ashamed of. He reiterated that Sharpe remains an important part of ESPN and should not be judged harshly for something that was beyond his control. Shannon Sharpe made a mistake and owned up to it. It's time for the world to move on. Shannon Sharpe, a highly respected media personality and NFL Hall of Famer, recently found himself at the center of an embarrassing situation. While he was caught off guard during a private moment that was accidentally broadcast on Instagram Live, Sharpe handled the situation with integrity and humility. Instead of blaming it on hacking or making excuses, he owned up to the mistake. He explained that he didn't realize what had happened and made it clear that it was an honest error. As Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith have both emphasized, Sharpe isn't exactly tech-savvy, and that's not a crime. Millions of people around the world, from all walks of life, struggle with technology from time to time. This incident was simply one of those moments where technology got the better of him, and it's something that could happen to anyone. Mistakes happen, and it's important to remember that everyone is human, even public figures like Sharpe. Comparisons to Paul Pierce's incident are completely misplaced. Pierce knowingly went on Instagram Live with strippers, cigars, and alcohol, fully aware of what he was doing, and violated ESPN's morality clause, which led to his dismissal. Sharpe's case is entirely different. He was caught off guard in a private moment and immediately took responsibility. There was no ill intent or violation of conduct, just an unfortunate technological mishap. Shannon Sharpe deserves credit for his honesty and accountability. He made a mistake, as we all do from time to time, and he apologized. Now it's time for the world to move on. He didn't harm anyone or break any rules, and he owned the situation with grace and maturity. Stay strong, UNC. You've proven once again why you're respected not just for your talents, but for your character.